Hi, I'm Carl Azus. Welcome to CNN 10. We are a little more than 1 week from Halloween, 1 month from Thanksgiving, 2 months from Christmas, and exactly 2 weeks from a major electoral event coming this fall, the U.S. midterm elections. Presidential terms last 4 years in America. Halfway through those terms are the midterms. In addition to state and local elections, the midterms help determine the makeup of Congress, and that can have an impact on how effective the president is in getting passage of the laws he supports. The House of Representatives has 435 voting members. They serve 2-year terms, so all of these seats are up for election on Tuesday, November 6th. The Senate has 100 voting members. They serve 6-year terms, so roughly a third of these seats are up for election. The president is a Republican. The House and Senate are controlled by Republican majorities, and Republicans want to keep that control. Democrats want to flip or win back control of those chambers of Congress. Whether they'll actually do that is unknown. No matter who the president is, lawmakers in the same political party tend to lose seats in the midterms. And many political analysts say there's a strong chance this year that Democrats will take control of the House from Republicans. But they say there's not a strong chance that the Senate will lose its Republican control because in these midterms, most of the Senate seats that are up for election are currently held by Democrats. What are the issues on the minds of voters? There are a lot. Immigration, drug addiction, welfare reform, gun violence, taxes, the environment, health care, trade deals, terrorism, they all factor in. How Americans feel about the president and his policies also factors in. How they'll vote and who will vote are things we'll know next month. 10-second trivia. In what year did the Soviet Union collapse? 1973, 1989, 1991, or 2002? The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, as it was also known, came to an end in 1991. And with the collapse of the Soviet Union came the end of the Cold War, a period of intense rivalry but no direct military conflict between the United States with its allies and the Soviet Union with its allies. As the Cold War was winding down in 1987, the U.S. and the USSR signed the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, the INF. They agreed to destroy thousands of missiles that could fly between 300 and 3,400 miles. They also agreed to stop testing these weapons. The INF treaty stands today between the U.S. and Russia, but U.S. President Donald Trump wants to get rid of it. He says Russia hasn't played by its rules for years, and America and its NATO allies have criticized Russia for apparently testing a cruise missile in 2014, the kind of missile that's supposed to be banned by the treaty. Both sides seem to agree the treaty has problems. Getting rid of it could allow the U.S. to develop a weapon like the cruise missile that Russia apparently tested. It could also allow Russia to freely build more missiles. Analysts say the elimination of the treaty could lead to a renewed arms race between the U.S. and Russia.
The U.S. has long been accusing Russia of violating the INF treaty by developing and deploying medium-range nuclear-capable missiles. Now President Trump says America is axing the agreement.
We're the ones that have stayed in the agreement, and we've honored the agreement, but Russia has not, unfortunately, honored the agreement. So we're going to terminate the agreement. We're going to pull out.
During his visit to Moscow in the coming days, National Security Advisor John Bolton is expected to formally tell the Russians that America is leaving the INF treaty. INF stands for Intermediate Nuclear Forces. The treaty was signed in 1987 between the U.S. and the Soviet Union and ultimately led to almost 2,700 medium-range nuclear missiles being withdrawn. Experts saying, by and large, the agreement has worked.
It was designed to provide a measure of strategic stability on the continent of Europe by banning missiles of a range between 300 and 3,400 miles, both cruise and ballistic missiles. So it was really meant to kind of take the temperature down, and it resulted in the destruction of literally thousands of missiles, and it has been in effect ever since.
Russia denies violating the treaty and accuses the U.S. of breaching it by developing anti-missile systems. The U.S. also believes the INF treaty puts it at a disadvantage versus a resurgent China, which is not part of the agreement. Another reason the administration says to pull out of the deal. Fred Pleitgen, CNN, Moscow.
Lucas Aldrich is teaching his community how to make the most out of life. He was born in 2007 with a rare neurological condition, and doctors don't know how long he'll live. He can't stand, sit, speak, or walk on his own, but in his older brother's words, Lucas is perfect. Working together, they've competed in triathlons, and they're the subjects of today's great big story.
When my little brother Lucas was born, my parents were told that he wouldn't walk or talk, and the doctors even said he might not make it to his 10th birthday. But today, a few months away from his 10th birthday, we're doing our 15th triathlon together. My name is Noah Aldrich, and this is my brother Lucas Aldrich.
Gotta get the guy, Lucas.
Noah is 11 and Lucas is 9, and Lucas was born with a rare genetic neurologic condition called lissencephaly. He's unable to walk, unable to talk, he's unable to feed himself, but despite all of his challenges, he's the happiest little boy that you'll ever meet.
About 4 years ago, our boys started doing triathlons together. In most cases, that wouldn't be a big deal. A lot of kids do triathlons, but there's something very special about the way our boys do triathlons.
I pull Lucas in a raft for the swim portion. Then I pull him in a bike cart during the bike, and I push him in a running cart during the run. I wanted to do this because Lucas can't do things like we can. He can't really play sports, so this is something we could do together. Currently, we're training for our 15th triathlon, which is this weekend. Before the race, I always feel nervous. I don't think I'll ever get over that. I just don't want to hurt Lucas. I don't care if I win the race, he just has to be okay.
Before the race, Lucas gets serious and he gets his race face on and they're ready to compete. They swim around 200 yards. Then they transition to a bike. They'll go usually about 3 to 5 miles.
And then they'll run about a mile. Noah is strong physically and especially mentally because he's truly only doing these races for his brother.
Sometimes I feel like, God, it's gotta be over soon, right? But I just hear Lucas. That's how he says, go faster.
Every day is precious with that little boy. I try to soak in the experience because we don't know how long the boys will be able to do triathlons together. Any one of them could be their last. What these boys accomplished gives me an immense sense of pride.
Noah and Lucas are an inspiration. People see these two young boys and it gives them hope and it gives them encouragement to go out and tackle life challenges.
If you're watching this show from a classroom, your teacher may be more familiar with Smashing Pumpkins than you are, but no one's more familiar with it than these elephants. Everything's huge in this scene. First, elephants. Then, the pumpkins are reportedly some of the largest grown nearby, weighing nearly 1,000 pounds. And the elephant's enthusiasm is also on a massive scale. This is all part of the Halloween festivities at the Oregon Zoo. It is said that pumpkin is good for your skin, so that explains the elephant's pulchritudinous pachydermis. They don't need a trunk full of makeup. They don't need to get it at a white elephant party. They don't need heavy foundation. They've already got that. They just pound a few pumpkins to maintain their gourd looks. I'm Carl Azuz for CNN.